Welcome to the Talk Sox podcast. I'm Alex, and as always, I'm joined by Maddie.
Hello. Uh, how's your Tuesday going?
It's been pretty good. Today was the deadline to add people to the 40 man to protect them from the upcoming Rule 5 draft. I spent some time checking out some of the newest additions to the Red Sox and, taught some teenagers while I'm at it. So,
Good day.
yeah. How about you?
uh, yeah, I had a meeting that was like 90 minutes away. So during the meeting, I had my phone up. I should have had it down because I was a little distracted. So I just was like looking at like Twitter, the Slack channel, just notifications going crazy, and I'm just
Yeah.
thinking like, geez, the front office is really busy today.
Yeah. This is probably the busiest Breslow has been since he took over, the president of baseball operations title. I always wait until after the 40 man crunch to turn on notifications for Jeff Passan, just because I want to get through all of his tweets today before I start getting notifications from him. So they'll get turned on tomorrow.
Huh. Huh. Mine are always on for him. But a lot of the stuff, I mean, when it's not busy, is just him promoting his articles.
Yes, yeah. Um, he's one that if you're still on X, Twitter, whatever, um, if you don't have his notifications turned on, I'd turn them on because it looks like things are starting to roll before we even get to the winter meetings next month. Um, you've got Josh Naylor agreeing to a contract to stay with the Seattle Mariners. Good for them for trading for a piece that they thought was going to put him over the hump and likely did, and locking him up long term on a very team friendly deal. Good for them. I was iffy on his fit in Boston. Even at the trade deadline, I wasn't totally in on him. Obviously, the power plays and kind of solves the first base issue, but he fits far better with the Mariners than he does with the Red Sox. But he was the first domino to fall. Going into today, the Red Sox had not done really anything to speak of outside of DFAing. I almost said Vladimir Guerrero, not Vladimir Guerrero, Luis Guerrero, um, who cleared waivers and was then outrighted off the 40 man. They began the day by trading him to the Tampa Bay Rays for Tristan Gray. Was the first move of this Tuesday, November 18th.
You know, um, uh, well, no, his name is spelled with an A. I when I first heard his name, I thought of there was this book series that was popular in the early 2010s, and there's a line that says, uh, Anastasia, Mr. Gray, we'll see you now. And I'm thinking, Anastasia, Tristan Gray, we'll see you now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And um, he can play anywhere in the infield.
I was going to say, I think he's probably penciled in for a super utility role. That's what they've kind of wanted Romy to be. But Romy can't play shortstop. I'm sure that he could go stand out in that part of the field if they asked him to. But realistically, Romy Gonzalez is not a shortstop, but he's gotten a lot of time at first and second, especially. He's played some third. Tristan Gray does seem to be the kind of a super utility infielder that they've been looking for the last couple of seasons. He's not going to tear the cover off the ball by any means. I had his numbers pulled up earlier today. A buddy and I were talking about
His bat speed is pretty good. 74.4 miles per hour.
I like that.
Yeah, 91.4% average exit velocity, 13.1% barrel rate, 44.3% hard hit rate. So he has power. His plate discipline is a little questionable. A 31.9% whiff rate, high chase rate, and so strikeout rate and batted ball rate. So
he was drafted in 2017, which is a little surprising. Definitely on the older side of the players that they've kind of been bringing in here recently. In 2025, he had 78 at bats, 18 hits, 3 homers, 9 RBIs. He slashed 231, 282, 692. No, that's not a slash line. It's an OBP of 282 and an OPS of 692. Excuse me. He's your typical. He had a slug of 410. He's your kind of typical super utility. He does a lot of things and none of them exceptionally well. I liked Luis Guerrero. I really had high hopes for him. I think that changeup is special. It worries me that he is headed to the pitching lab that is the Rays.
yeah,
And we're going to have to see him 16 times a season probably.
too much.
Yeah. So I don't love that Luis Guerrero will be playing for the Rays unless they stash him in their minor league system, which is possible. But, you know, Mr. Gray does give the Red Sox maybe a little more stability at second base. That's a platoon partner with Romy. I think they're both right-handed.
Gray's a lefty.
Is Gray a lefty? Okay.
Yeah.
So then a perfect platoon. I must have been looking at his throwing hand. A perfect platoon at second, provided that the team doesn't do anything to shore up that position, or Marcelo Meyer doesn't shift over, Trevor Story doesn't shift over. There's a lot of what ifs there. The corresponding move, because Luis Guerrero was not on the 40-man, is Nathaniel Lowe was DFA'd, which we all kind of saw coming. He was due, I forget what the number is, like $13.5 million if the Red Sox had picked up his option. There was no way.
Yeah.
Like, you cleared waivers from the Nationals, buddy. He had a great first week with the Red Sox and then kind of fell off after that. I could see them bringing him back for a much more manageable contract. He doesn't really work in a platoon at first base with Casas, but I think that you have to have an insurance plan with Casas, which I don't know if you saw this today, Maddie, that Casas is drawing some trade interest and the Red Sox are listening.
I did see that.
I don't get it from both teams' side at the moment.
Yeah. Just with his value should be at an all-time low.
Absolutely. So I guess if you're whoever is inquiring, you're hoping to pay pennies on the dollar for somebody who could be a 40 home run guy if he ever finds a stroke again. But we've talked about it on this show a ton because we're all Casas people here. You can't go into a season with Tristan Casas penciled in as your starting first baseman and not have some kind of contingency plan in place. I don't think that he starts the season with the big league club.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he needs to, and we talked about this on the last episode, he needs to spend some time down in Worcester and have fun with that jet alley out to right field, where he can just hit absolute bombs to get his feet back under him. Do you have any additional thoughts on the Nathaniel Lowe DFA?
No, I wasn't expecting the team to keep him for next year,
No.
and I wish him the best of luck wherever he ends up next year.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's a chance it's with Boston, but I mean, $3.5 million at the most for what he did. I mean, he's just a couple seasons removed away from a Gold Glove and a Silver Slugger, so there's something there. But he looked bad in 25.
Yeah, just like you said, he started off really strong, and then it all went downhill from there.
Maybe the most celebrated DFA of the day was one Josh Winkowski. Hopefully, we never have to listen to that awful Creed entrance music again, or see his face in Major League Baseball. Um,
Oh,
I can't stand Josh Winkowski. The feeling seems to be mutual with you, Maddie, as well.
yeah. um,
I'm very
maybe.
excited to see what the Section 10 boys have to say about this because he and Carabas hate each other.
Huh.
Yeah, apparently Winkowski at one point a couple seasons ago told Carabas to get out of his dugout. And Carabas is like, dude, you've been optioned 4 times this season. I've been in this dugout more than you have.
Uh, uh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
uh, I don't know how to respond to that.
If there's one Boston media, if you want to call Carabas media, if there's one Boston media personality I would not engage with in that regard, it's probably Jared Carabas. He seems to be probably the most universally appreciated non like EEI Nesson guy in the game. And he regularly texts Alex Cora. If I was Winkowski, I'd probably have treaded lightly around that situation.
Yeah, he has such an abrasive personality. I've read reports where he's not very coachable and just
Yeah. He's not very good at pitching.
Yeah. Well, yeah. To be fair, he has played in the majors, which is very hard.
More than I have.
Yeah.
But
and
now,
maybe
I'd get lit up more than he would if I was to stand out there on the mound, because we're coming in at at best 45, 50 miles an hour, and I don't know where it's going.
He could be a Nippon League superstar.
He does profile as somebody who's going to go overseas and probably reestablish himself and try to make another go at the majors, probably within the next 3 to 4 years. I think he profiles almost perfectly for that. Although, they're in their home run ball era, their long ball era in Nippon right now, so maybe he won't do so hot. But he does profile as that kind of pitcher to me. Along with that, Chris Murphy, who I've always kind of liked. I've always thought that Chris Murphy was a decent lefty. He was traded to the White Sox for a catcher not named Kyle Teal. Looks like, what was his name?
Ronnie Hernandez.
Yes. High A player, I think, is where he's at. Seems to be a really good defensive catcher.
He had he has a 25% caught stealing average in the minors. So
4 passed balls, which is not a lot for A ball. I like his profile. His slash line's not great. 251, 344, 336. He's only 21.
Yeah, so catching depth is always good.
Yeah. And then on top of that, before we get to the players who were protected, because there are multiple, which we were all kind of surprised by, Brennan Bernardino has been traded to the Rockies. Let's see, was Braden, who spells it Braiden.
Braden
Um,
with an I.
yeah, I don't like that. Braden Ward, he will be entering his year 27 season, going into 26. He's a center field, left field, second base hybrid. Debuted at AAA this season.
He's
Oh, the
fast.
Red Sox. Yeah, he's super quick. The Red Sox also traded Alex Hoppy to Seattle for Luke Heyman. I don't know really anything about either of those. I haven't
So
looked into either really.
Heyman, I'm looking at his Baseball America scouting report. He went unselected as a draft eligible sophomore in 2024.
Okay.
He's 6'4", 220 pounds. Quote unquote, Heyman offers plus raw power and improving swing decisions. He generates carry and lift to the pull side, even on pitches thrown in the outer half of the zone. While Heyman has struggled somewhat with off speed pitches, particularly changeups, he crushed velocity, a byproduct of solid bat speed and rhythm. So he fits with the Red Sox player development
Yeah,
profile.
that tracks a lot. He'll probably start at AAA here as well. Just more kind of utility man depth, a la Nate Eaton.
And he also plays first.
Okay,
So,
so that
yeah.
can be beneficial for sure.
And he's a righty.
That is also something that they're looking for at the moment,
Yeah.
and have been for a few seasons. So through all of these deals, minus the Guerrero deal and the Hoppy deal, the DFA of Winkowski, the trade of Murphy, the trade of Bernardino, the Red Sox at one point were down to a 37-man out of 40 on the 40-man roster. And the Red Sox protected David Sandlin, which we all kind of saw coming. Really, that was the one name that kind of stood out to all of us, as if the Red Sox are going to protect anybody, it's likely Sandlin. They've re-protected Shane Drohan, which I think is very interesting since he went unprotected 2 seasons ago. Was selected and then returned. And Tyler Uberstein was also protected, which was, I think, a name. Our co-writer Nick did an excellent piece about who may be Nick John. Did an excellent piece about which potential minor leaguers the Red Sox would protect, and he said Uberstein. And people kind of thought that was crazy, and it seems like Nick was onto something. And Nick has had some really, really good stuff lately, and so I was excited to see that he kind of called this one. There was some speculation about like Franklin Arias would be protected. I think he's far too low in the system for a team to stash. Selfishly, I wanted Noah Song to be reprotected. I know when he got to AAA, it wasn't the greatest towards the end of the season, but I honestly think he just ran out of gas more than anything else. He hadn't played a full season of baseball since before his was it Air Force commitment, naval commitment,
uh, uh,
naval. He was at the Naval Academy.
yeah.
Um, he hadn't played a full season of baseball since before his commitment to the Navy. So, and he played in 5 different levels of the Red Sox system in 2025. So, yeah, I think he was just a little gassed. I hope that he remains unpicked, because I think that, especially as we get into the dog days of the 26th season, I think he could be a contributing member of the Red Sox bullpen. And it's such a cool story, regardless of your feelings around whatever. The fact that he was the Golden Spikes winner in college from the Naval Academy, applied for a waiver to be able to play baseball, was told no, then went through flight training and everything and served his time in the military, came back and was promptly selected by the Phillies in the Rule 5 draft because Dave Dombrowski sucks. Was ruined with the Phillies and promptly returned to the Red Sox, where he has sort of reestablished himself. I think it's just such a cool thing. And I really want him to succeed, and I would love it if it was in a Red Sox uniform, just because he's such a cool story. probably not crazy that all of these are pitchers that are protected. It seems less and less that position players get protected because I think it's easier to stash a pitcher in the bullpen, a la Garrett Whitlock in 21, and just kind of let them ride it out there. You can't stash a double-A shortstop, and just hope it works out. But it'll be curious to see what the Red Sox do, if anything, in the Rule 5 draft. I'm curious. I haven't looked to see who all is available. I'm sure that MLB.com and The Athletic will have like a really good write-up probably already. I'm not going to check till the morning. But that'll be my have the apps read it to me as I'm commuting to work thing. That'll happen tomorrow. That's really nifty and handy if you're commuting and like you're just baseball obsessed like I am and you're out of podcast to listen to by Wednesday. They'll like Siri will read it to you. It's great. I'm very curious about that and to kind of see who maybe the Red Sox will be in on. If they're on anybody, in the Rule 5 draft, you can skip your turn. So I think that's such an interesting dynamic. Like, nah, we're good. None of you are good enough for us. And maybe the weirdest thing to come out of the GM meetings, and those were last week, Craig Breslow essentially said that Kristian Campbell is moving full-time to left field for the time being. That's wild. We already have 4 outfielders. One of them has to be traded, and now we're adding Kristian Campbell into the mix. I've advocated for him to play outfield up to this point. I think that that's where he's going to make the most sense, and I think that left field is where he is best suited for. But I feel like if he's going to stick with the Boston Red Sox, he needs to be a first baseman.
Yeah, but they tried that, and then
I know,
and it didn't really work. I think when I think it was like back in August, it was brought the news broke that he'd see some playing time at first, and then after a couple weeks there, Cora said, "Yeah, that experiment's over."
Yeah, and once he got demoted to AAA, I don't think he logged any innings at first there either. Maybe a handful. I wrote a piece about it last week, and I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head. I'm apparently a Kristian Campbell hater. We all found that out. Since I hate him so much, I like the kid. I've always liked the kid. I want him to do well, and I would love it if he would do well with the Boston Red Sox. He's not a professional. He's not a major league second baseman. That's for sure.
Yeah, he had.
Could he play third?
Oh, I feel like he needs to stick to a position.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for his mental health.
Yes.
And even at first basemen are really outgoing, talkative, I can't really think of a mean or combative first baseman off the top of my head right now. I mean, I know there are some. And,
absolutely. But
I just don't think he's, aside from, metrics, I don't think he's outgoing enough, which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't see him really, shooting the.
I feel like
engaging
Bryce
in banner.
Harper is not a jovial first baseman.
Ugh, don't get me started on him. But we talked about that last episode.
But Jarren Duran for Bryce Harper.
Okay. They made up. Apparently, Dombrowski. It came from Dombrowski though, not Harper. My dad told me about it, and he said I would have liked to hear from Harper. I thought, well, Harper has main character syndrome. He can just go.
Have you seen his mustache?
I think he should just, stick to
He just needs to grow his
influencing.
hair back out. Yeah.
Oh,
He
that
needs to grow his hair
too.
back out. Shave the
The,
mustache, grow his hair back out.
um,
Harper.
yeah, a lot of Phillies shave their heads, and I'm thinking y'all had nice hair beforehand, and it just went
Yeah.
away. Like, are you
Yeah.
like going through like a Britney thing?
But yeah, I don't want Bryce Harper on this team. Although I did
Yeah.
trade for my recent season of MLB The Show because he coughed only Jarren Duran. Um, um, no, I traded Jarren Duran for Pete Crow Armstrong because I'm a menace.
Why not? And
Yeah.
there were rumors about that a couple off seasons ago.
Yeah, and how I wish they had happened.
Yeah.
And I'll stand by this. I supported Jarren through the 24 season, and I've been banging the drum. If you've listened to this podcast since it started almost a year ago, I have been banging the drum since episode 1 for 2 things. One was the signing of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. That cannot happen. But the second thing was to trade Jarren Duran. His value was at its peak, and that was the offseason between the 24 and the 25 season. Here we are, and he is still a member of the Boston Red Sox. I don't think that he remains a member for the Boston Red Sox for long, but I think that any of the starting outfielders outside of Roman Anthony, unless the Dodgers want to trade him straight up for Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts, and I'd do that deal right now. All on the block, from what we're hearing. That kind of seems to be they're willing to listen on anybody, but the bar is set, quote, incredibly high, as it should be.
Yeah.
Jarren Duran is a known commodity. Willie Abreu is a 2-time Gold Glover. Ceddanne Rafaela is a Gold Glover who I guess I didn't realize the Platinum Glove was a fan vote. I think that's stupid. And it means very little to me now that I know that it's a fan vote. But that's neither here nor there. I don't see them trading either Abreu, who has an incredibly high ceiling, is younger than Duran with more years of control. Rafaela's locked up. I don't see them trading the best defender on the team, although they did with Jackie Bradley Jr., who now plays for the Indiana Clowns in the Banana Ball League, which they are coming to Busch Stadium again early next year. And if the Clowns are the team that's coming, I'm going and I am meeting Jackie Bradley Jr. Because I just think that'd be awesome. But I don't see any way Jarren Duran's on this team come spring training. I have my thoughts, and this conversation started about Kristian Campbell. We'll get back there. I have my ideal trade scenario for Jarren Duran that we'll talk about in a second. But Kristian Campbell, the left fielder, to me, if that is legitimate, which it should be, because like you said, Maddie, he needs a position. And I think that will help unlock what his issues have been. To me, if he is going to be an outfielder, he is going to start the year in AAA. And I don't think that his future on the Boston Red Sox is set in stone for the life of his contract.
I agree there. Maybe Breslow is saying that he'll be a left fielder to possibly build up his trade value and make him more appealing to interested teams. Just looking at Red Sox defensive stats, he wasn't the worst outfielder on the team if we're going by outs above average.
I actually think he profiles as a natural center fielder. If you go back, he played, 4 games in the majors at center? 4 games, 5 games, something like that? He made some catches that were very difficult catches that looked very natural. Now, would I trade Ceddanne Rafaela to put Kristian Campbell in center? No. Could I see that down the road? If Campbell's back comes back around and he's flashing the leather in the outfield, all of a sudden, when Roman Anthony got called up to Worcester, they moved him out of center field to the corner outfield spots. Specifically right field because that's where he would be playing. They moved him to right so he could learn how to play in front of the monster and right it's not JetBlue Park. That's spring training at Polar Park. So he would be more adept to learning the monster at the major league level. And then Willie Abreu got injured. So he was a right fielder. But I think that we could see Campbell shift to center, especially if the team ends up trading Garcia, the password, which I know he's a right fielder. But there's going to be some movement, and Campbell, like I said, he looks more natural in center field than anywhere else.
I see him more as a left fielder just because
he's built more like a left fielder.
Yeah, and especially at Fenway, I don't see him playing right field at all. And if anything, no. I think Roman could, if Abreu's traded, he could go into right field. He looked good there. He made a couple of nice plays.
I would be perfectly fine with Roman as our right fielder.
Yeah, and even I think just with his mindset, his work ethic, I think he could bring himself up to a Gold Glove caliber right fielder.
And even in a pinch, I think he could play center for the next couple of years, not for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
But if they're doing the fun, we're going to make Rafaela play second. Who's going to play center?
Well, no.
I don't want Rafaela on the infield dirt unless he's on base from here on out. But I don't super understand this move with Kristian Campbell outside of giving him some stability and potentially making him more attractive as a trade option. Because right now he's signed a digestible contract, but not a digestible contract for a fourth outfield utility player.
Mm-hmm. And even if he was traded, trying to think, like the Cardinals or wherever the Sacramento Athletics now,
for at least the next however many years,
he'd turn into an all-star player there.
I actually think that St. Louis works really, really well for Campbell. It's so low pressure there right now. I mean, that team is so bad. Mm-hmm. Although Mason Wynn, their shortstop, he is a ton of fun to watch. Did just win a Gold Glove. Nolan Arenado's a shell of himself. When you have Jordan Walker, done.
Yeah,
Trevor Story in there too. Yeah, put Trevor Story in that deal too. And go team him back up with Arenado and relive their Rockies heydays. But the Cardinals are going nowhere for quite some time. Chaim Bloom is now running the show there. Good for him. The Red Sox do play the Cardinals in April this year, which is very early in the season. I will be at those games, and so I'll give live reports of just how bad the Cardinals are to my Cardinal friends that will also be at the game. But do you have anything else on the Campbell thing? I feel like right now it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, and with Breslow also made a statement. Was it during the GM meetings? Probably, where he said we're not going to trade any of our surplus outfielders unless we're in it's a good deal. And I'm just thinking, this doesn't add up. I feel like he put his foot in his mouth. Yeah, bluffing, and just I feel like at least one of Duran and Abreu are being traded. And I've talked about Rafaela possibly being traded before here, and just I wouldn't want to see that personally, just because he's a really good teammate. And
he's got braces.
Oh no, he's so young.
I know, I love it.
And he had his third kid. I didn't even know he had one. And he's younger than me. That's crazy to think about, but. He seems like a really, really good guy, and I wouldn't want him to leave the clubhouse.
No, I agree with that 100%. I think that he can learn to be at least a league average hitter that doesn't chase pitches way out of the zone all the time. And I will take fan voting platinum glove caliber defense with a league average bat out of the 7, 8, 9 hole 20 times out of 10.
Yeah, I think the issue with Rafaela is that he just falls apart during the second half of the season. I looked it up the other day. I don't have the numbers.
It's like his pitch recognition goes out the window.
Yeah, and his stats just plummet. So if he can just stay stable throughout the whole season, I think.
Was it Breslow that also said that he and Campbell have the same issue of like putting on and keeping weight on during the season?
Or was it Meyer? No, he said Meyer needed to bulk up.
Yeah, which is slightly concerning.
His wrist in that one photo I saw floating around Twitter, it looked really skinny. And I was thinking, huh.
No wonder he breaks it all the time.
I don't have my gripper here, but yeah, he needs a little gripper.
Yeah. Real quick before we move on to the last thing that's kind of on the docket for us, my ideal trade scenario for Jarren Duran.
Okay.
And it's going to be a package deal. It's not going to be Duran straight up. Maybe it includes Kristian Campbell. Is Jarren Duran is traded to the Kansas City Royals for Vinny Pasquantino and Cole Ragans. Solves the first base issue. Vinny Pasquantino just feels like a Boston Red Sox name.
Would the Sasquatch thing come with them?
It has to be part of the deal. And then Cole Ragans gets you your hybrid 2-3 starter.
And he's he's under control too, Ragans, for a bit. So and I think he'd work well with Andrew Bailey's pitching lab. Yeah, and it's Kansas City's also such a low pressure environment compared to Boston.
They have the worst outfield in the league this year. They need help. So I think they'd be willing to overpay, hence the Pasquantino and Cole Ragans package. I do wonder, former Red Sox assistant GM Paul Taboni is now the GM of the Washington Nationals. And it has come out over the last day, really since the GM meetings, that they are willing to listen on Mackenzie Gore. I love that idea, but you have to assume, much like the Cubs have been unwilling to deal with Breslow, the Red Sox are probably going to be unwilling to deal with Taboni because he knows the system so well. Same reason why I think the only deal that we'll ever see with Chaim Bloom and the Cardinals was Blaze Jordan for a insert Steven Matz or whoever, because Chaim Bloom loved Blaze Jordan. I think that's the only time we'll ever see that deal. Ever see any deal with the Cardinals while Chaim Bloom is running that organization. So you have to wonder if the Red Sox are maybe a little bit hesitant to deal with Taboni because he knows the system so well. But I think that if Mackenzie Gore is available, you've got to make that phone call.
Taboni built. He built not Bill, but he was in charge for drafting. Roman, Marcelo, Campbell. He knows the system like the back of his hand. I could see Gore. I think I've read rumors about this too, about him being traded to the Cubs.
That's scary. The Cubs are more than just a Mackenzie Gore away from a World Series title, but he gets them a lot closer than they were this year. They need offense.
Wait, speaking of Cubs, I also saw. Oh no, I'm getting my Japanese players mixed up. Never mind. I thought they were listening on who was. Yeah, I thought they were open to trading, say, a Suzuki, but then I
Make
realized,
that phone call.
yeah, then I realized it was the Mets and Kodai Senga. So,
I don't hate that.
yeah.
That contract's not great.
Oh,
But
I thought he's on a pretty reasonable
it's not
deal.
terrible.
Yeah.
But with his injury history, it leaves a little to be desired.
Yeah, I mean, if he'd be willing to pitch in the bullpen, I think that would be a good avenue for him. But I mean, with his
I don't
contract and
think
everything,
that what you'd have to give up to get him would make sense to move him to the bullpen, at least the first year.
yeah. Well,
But if he's in a rotation where he doesn't have as much pressure as he has in New York, because you've got, I mean, you're not trading for Kodai Senga to be your number 2. If you're trading for him to be your number 2, we could probably go ahead and say the wild card in 26 is the best the Red Sox can hope for. Now, if you make a deal for Mackenzie Gore, for Cole Reagans, for I don't know, Pablo Lopez, because I don't think that I'm super hot on the Joe Ryan train anymore. But I do like Pablo Lopez a lot. If you make a deal for one of those and then you make a deal for Kodai Senga, absolutely. Because 3, 4, 5 of Senga, Bayo, and Cutter Crawford, Connolly Early, Peyton Tolley, insert, kind of movable quad A pitcher. There's not a better rotation in baseball.
Yeah.
I think the last thing, or what do you got?
Oh, I was going to bridge to the last item on our agenda.
I was going to say, kind of speaking of the Mets, there's a lot of smoke on social media around Pete Alonso and the Red Sox. I've tried to do some digging and can't get much. Not that I'm well connected by any means, but I've sent some feelers out to some people who would be more in the know than I am. And there's smoke here. The Red Sox are interested, especially if Bregman doesn't come back. But I think out of all the available free agent options, Alonso makes the most sense, especially since he said he's willing to shift to DH within the next couple of seasons for a contending team.
That makes his contract more viable.
Yeah.
Especially given the fact that his defense has progressively gotten worse throughout his career.
Yeah. When it comes to first baseman, I put less weight on defensive metrics and more so, can he pick it? Is he going to be able to snag, is he going to grab a rope up the line? No. Can he pick a Trevor Story jump throw from shortstop? Yes. And I'm okay with that. Can he knock it down? Sure.
And Pete lunges for the ball. I mean, he seems to stretch pretty far when he's trying to catch.
This rumored 7 or 8 year contract that he's looking for isn't going to happen. I think that his and Schwarber's deals will end up being very, very similar. Probably somewhere in the 5 to maybe 6 year range. 5 with an option. And I like Kyle Schwarber, but Alonso, at least for the next year or 2, gives you a first baseman and you can kind of kick that can down the road a little bit. Whereas Schwarber just gives you power. He gives you a full-time DH. And with Yoshida on the roster, there's no spot for a full-time DH. Not that I expect Yoshida to be on the roster come spring training, but right now we're working with what we've got. I think that Pete Alonso makes the most sense out of all the available, non-pitching free agents. There's pitchers that obviously make far more sense, but I would not be upset to see the Red Sox sign Pete Alonso.
I wouldn't either. I mean, if it
Would I
was
buy his jersey? No,
well, what?
I wouldn't. Unless they bring back the nicknames, and then I would buy a polar bear jersey.
Huh? I know an Alonzo City Connect would be added to my shopping list. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I agree. I mean, among all of the power hitting first base options, yeah, if you had to choose one, it probably would be Alonso. But if you were given a choice, Bregman or Alonso, who would you choose?
You want complete honesty?
Yeah,
I think I'd go with Alonso because you have an in-house replacement for Bregman and Marcelo Meyer.
that's true. And there's some contingency now if in case he gets injured again.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, do I want both of them? That's my preferred option. I realistically, and we talked about this in the last episode, the Red Sox have backed themselves into a corner with Alex Bregman. They signed him, gave him opt-outs, and then traded Rafael Devers. The Red Sox have no leverage in any negotiating with Alex Bregman and Scott Boras. He realistically, I mean, why wait until the winter meetings or the start of the new year? Put your best offer in front of him right now. And if he says no, say, what will it take? And sign Alex Bregman because you have put yourself in this scenario. Had you held on to Rafael Devers, we'd be talking a drastically different scenario right now. And I'm not going to sit here and harp on that. I still agree with the trade, like in principle. I understand what the team was doing, but don't trade Rafael Devers and then not bring back the guy you signed that made him so mad that you had to trade him. It just doesn't work that way. So tender Bregman a contract, 5 years. If you want 6, give him an option. Sign Alonso and trade for a Pablo Lopez. Trade for that frontline starter that slots in right behind Garrett Crochet. I saw Bleacher Report said that the Tigers make a lot of sense for Jarren Duran as a trade destination. I don't think that Duran as a centerpiece nets you a Tarek Skubal. But man, what an interesting thought that could be.
I have a piece on that coming out tomorrow. So
fantastic. I can't wait. I'm excited to read that.
Yeah.
I'd kick the tires on that. I sure would.
Yes. And well, yes and no. If they Skubal is a Boris client, and I don't see him signing an extension with a new team, but crazier things have happened, and with the impending lockout.
That's the big what if in this scenario.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say if all it takes is Jarren Duran as part of a trade package to land Tarek Skubal, I don't want that to sound like I'm, bashing Duran. He's not long for this team as it stands. And I feel like if you were to land Skubal, and I'm still like, I don't think that the trade package, I don't think there's any trade package that makes sense to trade for Tarek Skubal unless it's Duran and some like high A like flyers, like dart throws. And Connor Wong. I would trade Connor Wong to them as well. And Jarren Duran and Connor Wong and like 3 guys of their choice from high A for Tarek Skubal. That would be my offer. Why not? Like, because I mean, if it's realistically Crochet moves to the number 2 slot in the rotation, and it's really not a number 1, number 2. It's a 1A, 1B kind of deal.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about every 5 days for both of them. You have a team every series and a half, you have a team that's going to see Scooble and Crochet on back-to-back nights. You walk to the World Series.
Yeah, just yeah, that would be beautiful. But I I don't know if they're crazy enough to do that for potentially 1 year of Scooble.
No, I don't think they are,
Yeah.
but we can hope and dream. Are there any? And I know we talked about this on the last episode. Are there any free agents that have kind of like piqued your interest since then,
Yeah,
outside of Alonso?
if we're talking pitchers, I think Tatsuya Imai would be a great addition to the rotation. He's expected to be posted tomorrow, so I think teams have until January 2nd to negotiate with them.
Was the Akamoto that's already been posted that they're
Both of them tomorrow.
okay.
Well,
Who was posted like a week ago? So that way it essentially guarantees he has to sign or 2 weeks ago that he has to sign during the winter meetings.
what?
I know we talked about it in this.
Was it Murakami?
I think it's Murakami. I can't remember if it was him or Akamoto. Every time I say that, I think of Doctor Strange and the Eye of Agamotto. Yeah, Murakami. Yeah, like essentially, like they've highlighted the winter meetings as when they want to sign based on when he was posted. Not that I think the Red Sox are going to sign Murakami, but I think they're going to be in on him, and I think that changes the Alonso conversation if they get him, unless they put him at third base, which I don't love.
No, his defensive profile reads more DH first base in Major League Baseball.
Yep.
Murakami, man, every time I hear that name, I think of the author Murakami, not the Japanese baseball player. I need to reframe my mindset.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's see. Let me pull up the calendar. So, in case you didn't listen a couple weeks ago, our new schedule through the off season is every other week. So, as it stands right now, our next episode will be the week before, the same week of, but earlier in the week as the winter meetings. And we plan to do live streams for any like signings and trades that break, including at the winter meetings. Hopefully not while I'm teaching.
Yeah, hopefully not at my holiday office party.
Yeah, we also have a giant high school basketball tournament that I am a part of during the 8th through the 12th. So I'm hoping that not a whole lot happens right there, but yeah. So right now our next episode is scheduled to be around December 2nd, right before the winter meeting starts. Hopefully we'll have at least something that's happened since then. A trade for Shohei Ohtani, something. But yeah, do you have any final thoughts? You said you've got a Scooble trade piece coming out tomorrow. I'm excited to read that. Do you have anything else kind of in the works?
Yeah, I'll get to this during the Thanksgiving break. A piece on the Cubs and the Red Sox and how their paradigms are different for how they've built their rosters. Jed Hoyer used to work in the Red Sox front office. Craig Breslow was working under Hoyer when he was the, I think, director of pitching or something. I don't know his exact title at the Cubs before he came to the Red Sox.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. I'm looking forward to reading that because it's so like PCA and Rafaela, like there's so many parallels between the Red Sox and the Cubs, and neither team seems to be able to get over that hump yet. I would love if 26 is the year that both teams could get over that hump because a Red Sox Cubs World Series would do numbers.
I would fly out to Chicago for that.
Yeah.
Wrigley and Fenway. That would be so cool.
Yeah, two just immensely classic ballparks, two storied franchises. Just how awesome would that be? Yeah, I mean,
Do you
that's
have
an
anything?
Amtrak train. Like, that's like a 4-hour Amtrak train from where I live to get to Chicago. So, yeah, we'd be there for that. I have a piece on why the Red Sox should not sign Kyle Schwarber. That'll be coming out in the near future. And I kind of highlighted some of it here, but it goes a lot more in depth in that piece. So when it posts, sometime this week, I assume, check that out. And then I am looking at depth options in the corner infield spots for the Red Sox, since we currently do not have a starting third baseman or first baseman. So those are the two things I'm kind of cooking up now. I'm hoping that over kind of the Thanksgiving holiday, my school district gets that whole week off. I'm hoping that kind of that Tuesday, Wednesday, I can do some writing and get some stuff up as we head kind of into the holiday season. But yeah, that's about all I got kicking right now. So yeah, catch us around December 2nd. Tuesday seems to be the off-season day, recording day of choice so far. But it could be December 1st, December 3rd. Who knows? It just kind of depends on what our schedules look like. Enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday next week. I'm already like overwhelmed with meal planning.
Oh, yeah, me too.
We're hosting like 18 people here, so that's gonna be super fun. I say that it'll be great. I enjoy it and I love to cook. But I think we've talked about that on here. But just meal planning for that day alone has stressed me out to no end. So but yeah, enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday. Hopefully nothing crazy happens over the next week, but if it does, we'll catch you right here on a live episode of the Talk Sox podcast. Thanks for listening.
Take care.